To the executive board and executive partners, hello and welcome. My name is Greg Rowland, marketing coordinator with the Black Kings Connect company. We're going to have a conversation about broadening Black identity through curating community, why that's important, and how it affects society at large, and what we intend to do about it. Let's get started. On behalf of Black Kings Connect, or BKC for short, we feel it's important to set the stage with crucial information for you to know so you can empathize with our why and be compelled to action alongside with us. On a macro, even global level, the importance of cultural, technological, and socioeconomic growth cannot be overstated. Black Kings Connect is a company focused on understanding these situational trends, which justifies our first strategic product, a podcast. Globalization, exponential technological growth, and a more diverse society has demanded that consumers be offered multiple and varied perspectives. One of the most vital insights is a desire for content that focuses on empowerment, which BKC has adopted in our positioning statement. BKC is primarily for Black men and women seeking individual, mutual, and communal uplift through the sharing of common and uncommon experiences. BKC provides customers tools for empowerment and encouragement because we believe that creating clarity in how Black individuals see themselves is the most powerful community advancement tool. We are targeting Black millennials primarily through digital and social media channels with our podcast and using our strategic recommendation, the Connection Consortium, to co-create and evaluate content with our listeners. In this planned scenario, we envision that we'll achieve 5 to 10% new subscriber growth per season, an 80% average weekly listener rate, and other measurable outcomes related to product leadership and customer intimacy. Taking these macro insights into consideration alongside primary and secondary research, one thing is clear: Blackness is not a monolithic experience. Focusing on just Black America, diversity within the Black community happens ethnically, financially, geographically, and much more, all of which combine to create experiential diversity. We will mention our implementation and marketing mix strategy shortly, but BKC is targeting a millennial demographic supported by the fact that the median age of all Black Americans is 32, with millennials having the second highest percentage of the total Black population at 23%. Black Americans represent a large majority of Southern metropolitan areas. However, the New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania metropolitan area represents a large share as well. That area's population exceeds the Atlanta area alone by over 1.5 million people. The Washington, D.C. and Midwest regions also boast over 1.4 million residents each, giving the U.S. some geographic diversity for Black residences. Even globally, Black individuals hail from South America and the Caribbean, Africa, and Europe, and all of these intersections create a wide panoramic view that deserves accurate and thorough representation. There are similarities. According to Pew Research, Black Americans are among the most likely individuals to use social media to advance causes that are important to them, like giving voice to underrepresented groups, changing public perception on cultural topics, and political activism. In fact, 7 out of 10 Black social media users say that social media platforms are effective for changing perceptions on political and social issues. And almost 8 out of 10 Black social media users say that social media is useful for highlighting issues that wouldn't otherwise get attention and giving voice to those underrepresented groups. And that's important because as the Black experience expands and becomes more diverse within itself, their representation in the media must also grow with it. Unfortunately, it's not happening, and that's a big problem. In the year 2000, there were 36 million US citizens who identified as Black, and in 2019, that number jumped to almost 47 million. However, a large proportion of those citizens identified in more nuanced ways in 2019, as proportions have almost doubled for those who identified as multiracial or Black Latinx. Simply put, the Black experience is becoming more diverse within itself. According to NBC News, 2 out of 3 Black Americans feel they are not represented accurately or thoroughly enough in media, and lack of accurate, diverse representation and misrepresentation has consequences. So far, lack of representation has hampered social, cultural, political, financial, and economic progress, just to name a few aspects. And as we see in this graphic, this not only affects how others see them, but how they see themselves. Conversely, when individuals see themselves represented, they are encouraged, empowered, and uplifted to become the heroines and heroes of their own communities and stories. Looking in the professional arena, for example, McKinsey and Company insights highlight the dangers of low representation and the benefits of representation done well. When representation does not exist, opportunities for paying it forward and for sponsorship of future diverse employees does not happen. When there's no diversity in the room, it slows advancement in the boardroom and in public perception. Yet when it does exist, studies show that executive teams with diverse representation and connection to diverse parties are 36% more likely to financially outperform the national average. Representation, diversity, and connection matter. Connecting networks with diverse representation can begin pipelines to continue to grant access to Black individuals in various areas, professionally, entertainment, politics, and much more. Failing to do so hurts the Black community, but arguably hurts everyone else as well. BKC has begun to tell these kinds of stories about how connection, empathy, and diversity really pay off. We see how important connecting networks and diversity are, and we know the stakes. Here's what we're doing about it. Introducing the Connection Consortium, a dedicated community of BKC stakeholders, key partners, and podcast listeners, all working together and creating together. We want to create connection between as many social networks as possible, starting primarily within the Black community and with individuals and entities that support our mission. Within the Connection Consortium is the focus on culture and research that always looks for new insights that can be turned into content and material that accurately depicts the Black experience, and then taking that to communicate it to a receptive audience. The consortium will also have a rotating base of listeners and key partners that act as design collaborators, assessing our minimum viable products, podcast prototypes, and future content ideas to ensure that we're communicating our content well. We're dedicated to this strategic solution, and we want you to support the Connection Consortium, our podcast, and our business's mission, which is to expand and enhance the conversation about accurate and diverse representations of the Black experience. You can do that specifically by giving us our due, at least one of the following three things: define, understand, and embrace Blackness. Help define Blackness by constantly participating in the work of adding aspects of Black identity that do belong and pruning aspects that do not. This is admittedly not a concrete process, and it's more of a journey rather than a destination. Yet, as we mentioned before, society at large wins when diversity is strong. Understand Blackness by showing up and listening consistently, even if you don't identify as Black. With listening comes understanding, so subscribe to our content and follow our social media channels. Finally, embrace Blackness. Appreciate Blackness in all its true forms. Listen to our episodes and have conversations with your own social networks and circles about our content. Share our brand and podcast product on your own social media channels while adopting positive word of mouth behaviors, and refer our content to your friends and family. We believe that our Connection Consortium, our podcast, and our business will add meaningful opportunities to broaden the Black experience through curating community and conversations. Appendices and references are available upon request, and thank you so much for your time.